Yesterday morning, a man the Mexican government couldn't catch for over a decade. A man with a $15 million bounty on his head. The man who made fentanyl a household word in America died in a military helicopter somewhere between Jalisco and Mexico City. El Mencho is gone. And right now, Mexico is on fire. Highways blocked, airlines canceling flights, tourists sheltering in hotels, armed men torching buses on the Malecon, and the U.S. State Department just told every American in Jalisco, Tamaulipas, Michoacán, Guerrero, and Nuevo León to stay in place. So today, we're not here to celebrate a government win. We're here to talk about what this means for you. Because the most dangerous moment in a cartel's history isn't when the boss is alive. It's the 90 days after he dies. This is Crisis Scribbles. Let's break down what just happened and exactly how to survive what comes next. Quick history, and I'll keep this fast because you need the context. Nemesio Rubeno Ceguera Cervantes, El Mencho, started as a low-level drug dealer in California. He was deported, came back, and built the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, into arguably the most powerful criminal organization in the Western Hemisphere. By 2026, CJNG was operating in most of Mexico's 32 states, had cells in over 40 countries, and was responsible for the majority of fentanyl and methamphetamine entering the United States. The DEA called him the most powerful drug trafficker in the world. More powerful than El Chapo ever was, more violent, more organized, and far harder to find. Why you should care even if you don't live in Mexico. CJNG supplies roughly 40–60% of the fentanyl entering the U.S. Per DEA estimates, cartel destabilization historically drives migration surges northward. Violence spikes affect U.S. border communities directly. Any American in Mexico, tourist or expat, faces elevated risk during power transitions. Now here is what you have to understand before we go further. El Mencho's brother is in a U.S. prison. His son, El Menchito. His daughter, prison. There is no clear line of succession. There is no heir apparent waiting in a bunker to take command. According to Al Jazeera's John Hallman, reporting from Mexico City, and I quote, "There is no obvious successor." That's not good news. That's the most dangerous thing that could happen. We've been here before. Let me show you the playbook, because cartels always follow it. When El Chapo was arrested in 2016, analysts said it was a turning point. They were right, but not the way anyone hoped. The Sinaloa cartel fractured. Two factions, Chapitos and Mayos, went to war. 2023 and 2024 saw some of the worst cartel violence in Sinaloa's history. Now multiply that instability by the size of CJNG, which is arguably bigger, more militarized, and controls more territory. Typically happens in the first 90 days after a kingpin dies. Wake 1, retaliation violence, narco-bloqueos, arson, targeted killings. Cartel shows it still has teeth. We're in this phase, right now. Weeks 2–4, internal jockeying. Regional lieutenants test boundaries. Some declare loyalty publicly, others negotiate secretly. Month 2, splinter groups emerge. Rival Sinaloa cartel, CJNG factions, move to absorb territory. Violence peaks in contested zones. Month 3, new power structure begins to crystallize, or the cartel fractures into smaller, more unpredictable cells. The Algocracy, an intelligence analysis outlet, put it well. Whether CJNG fragments or consolidates under new leadership will shape Mexico's security trajectory. Rival factions, ambitious lieutenants, or external competitors may attempt to exploit uncertainty. Bottom line, whether this ends in one dominant successor or 10 competing warlords, both outcomes mean more violence before things stabilize. Alright, enough of what happened. Let's talk prep. Let's talk survival, because this is Crisis Scribes, and we don't just report the fire, we tell you how to get out of the building. I've broken this into 3 groups. If you are in Mexico right now, if you are planning to travel to Mexico, if you are in the US. Group region or elsewhere in North America. Group A, you're currently in Mexico. Rule number 1 of any cartel crisis, do not move until you understand the terrain. CJNG's narco bloqueos are specifically designed to trap people in transit. Burning buses across highways is their way of saying, nobody moves unless we say so. If you get caught in a blockade at night, that's where bad situations escalate. Immediate action list. If you are in Mexico right now, shelter in place. The U.S. State Department has specifically advised this. Follow it. Contact your hotel or host. Ask about their emergency protocol and whether exits are clear. Register with the U.S. STEP program. Smart Traveler Enrollment Program if you haven't already. step.state.gov. Charge all devices. Download offline maps of your area. Google Maps offline or maps.me. Carry cash. ATMs are primary targets during blockades. Have at least 2,000 pesos in small bills. Know your exits. What's the nearest airport, and what are the overland alternatives? Avoid social media check-ins showing your location. Cartel intelligence monitors these. Trust your gut. If locals are evacuating a neighborhood, ask why and consider doing the same. Group B, you have travel planned to Mexico. Here is what most travel agencies and tour operators won't tell you, but we will. The next 30-60 days represent one of the highest risk windows for travel to Western Mexico in years. Highest risk zones right now, February 2026, Jalisco State, including Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta, and CJNG Heartland. Tamaulipas, narco bloqueos reported the 22nd of February. Michoacán, secondary CJNG territory with rival encroachment. Guanajuato and Nayarit. Guerrero, chronic instability now compounded by CJNG's succession uncertainty. Airlines, Delta, Alaska, American, Air Canada already canceled flights into Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara on the 22nd of February. Some have resumed. Many travelers are stranded. Before you book or board, check the U.S. State Department advisory at travel.state.gov, updated in real time. Trip cancellation and emergency evacuation insurance before you travel. Know the difference between Do Not Travel Level 4 and Reconsider Travel Level 3 advisories. Have a fallback plan. If your destination state goes Level 4, know which safe hub airport you can divert to. Mexico City, per Candela MX, is generally safer. A trusted contact at home with your itinerary, hotel address, and daily check-in windows. You're in the U.S., border region, and beyond. You might think, this is a Mexico problem, and I get it. But let me walk you through why this is your problem too. Fentanyl supply chains may disrupt in the short term, which sounds positive until you realize disruption causes price spikes and violence in distribution networks inside the U.S. 2. Border communities in Texas, California, Arizona, and New Mexico have historically seen spillover violence during Mexican cartel power transitions. Not always, but often enough that law enforcement in those areas is already on heightened alert. 3. If you have family, employees, or business partners in Mexico, you need to be their emergency resource right now. Long-range prep for U.S.-based viewers. Monitor for spillover. Follow your local county sheriff's social media during this period. If you cross the border regularly for work or business, pause. Consult your company's security team or a private travel risk service. Build your contact list. Know the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City, plus 5255 5000 80 to 2000, and the nearest consulate to your travel area. Prepare for potential migration increases. Border crossing wait times may spike. Factor this into supply chains or commute plans. Stay informed without panic. Use Reuters, AP, Al Jazeera's live Mexico coverage, not social media viral clips, many of which are unverified or old. Let's zoom out for a moment. President Claudia Sheinbaum called this operation a major blow against organized crime. The U.S. Deputy Secretary of State called it, quote, a great development for Mexico, the U.S., Latin America, and the world. And they're not wrong about what it represents militarily. This is the biggest kingpin takedown since El Chapo. But here is the complication. Mexico is hosting the FIFA World Cup in 2026. Guadalajara is a host city. And right now, Guadalajara just witnessed scenes of mass panic at its international airport. The question Mexico's government has to answer fast is whether this moment of tactical victory becomes a strategic success, or whether the power vacuum El Mencho leaves behind turns into the most violent cartel succession battle since the Zetas fractured. Analysts at ibtimes.co.uk put it starkly. The violence of the 2nd of February, the 2nd of May not be the peak of this crisis. It could be only the opening act. Watch these indicators over the coming weeks. Do narco bloqueos continue or subside? Signals whether CJNG command and control is holding. If yes, CJNG consolidates. If not, fragmentation is likely. Does Sinaloa cartel make territorial moves into Jalisco? The clearest sign of a full-blown cartel war. How does the U.S. respond? Troop deployments, tariffs, extradition requests, all in play. Look, I know this is a lot to take in. When someone like El Mencho goes down, there is a temptation to think the problem goes with him. And part of you wants to breathe. But history, real history, not the version governments put in press releases, tells us that the death of a kingpin is almost never the end of instability. It's a pivot. And pivots are dangerous precisely because they're unpredictable. So here's what I want you to do right now. 1. If you are in Mexico, shelter in place, follow embassy guidance, and stay off social media about your location. 2. If you are planning to travel, check your State Department advisories today before anything else. 3. If you are in the U.S., monitor border conditions and check on anyone you know in Mexico. We'll be updating this story as it develops. Drop your questions in the comments. I read every single one. If this video helped you, share it with someone who's traveling to Mexico or has family there. Right now, information is survival. This is Crisis Scribbles. Stay aware, stay prepared, and we'll see you in the next one.